Hi, I'm Caroline Linton. I'm a body talk practitioner and a Breakthrough One instructor. And today I just want to tell you a little bit about Breakthrough One. I've got a class coming up at the end of June. It's in a good time zone for Europe in the afternoon. It's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. South African time. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what Breakthrough is and why you should consider taking the class. So I have to go back a couple of years and talk about how I grew up. I grew up with a very reactionary mum and quite a philosophical and calm dad. So I had these polar opposites. My parents were divorced when I was really young. So I lived with my mum and had intermittent access to my father daily, but when you live with someone, you take up really their story. So it didn't take long for me to become a very reactionary person. But I had this philosophical influence from my father, and he was wonderful in helping me understand personal freedom and personal responsibility, really, and allowing others their freedom was really how I used to phrase it back then. And so when I started realizing I was this very reactionary person, I was totally mortified by my behavior because I'm this really good, kind, level-headed person. I want what's best for others, for them as well as for me. And things would happen where I would get triggered and my reactions would be so strong and my behavior would be so powerful that only after the fact I'd realize, hang on a second, how did I just act like that? When my own personal philosophy is to really allow someone their freedom, really care about people and their freedom. And in that moment, my behavior was totally controlling and totally manipulative and pretty selfish. So I started really grappling with these strong reactions that I would have. And as, teenage and young adulthood came in, they just got stronger for me. My dad also really introduced a natural way of living with massaging our reflexes of our feet when we were kids and sending us to homeopaths. And there was a basic thread of treating the body as naturally as possible. And it was quite surprising, perhaps not so surprising, that I ended up becoming a natural practitioner. I studied the natural arts, aromatherapy, reflexology, craniosacral therapy. I went on to train as a doula. And then I found body talk. And I had just certified as a body talk practitioner when John and Esther came to South Africa, and I managed to get onto Breakthrough 1 and 2. It was a 5-day class with Esther. And just in the first morning, she started talking about these concepts of understanding what an overreaction is. And I was like, oh my gosh, this has been my problem. This is the thing that I've been struggling with and grappling with for so long. I'd started certain amounts of decoding beliefs and understanding some concepts by myself in my natural healing journey. But here Esther was presenting on the very first day the very thing that I was struggling with the most, the very thing I was trying to shift and change about myself. And she delivered these, what happens in your behavior when you're in an overreaction, and what is the overreaction hitting? And so very quickly, I shot up my hand and said, how do I learn to teach this? This, to me, is the core of what I want to look at in myself. So to put it in a nutshell, we have these immense triggers that cause an overreaction in us, or perhaps the overreaction was caused long ago, but a trigger comes along and catalyzes really deep traumas from our lives that we have coped with. So as a very small child, you don't have the experience or the knowledge or the words to really understand what these traumas are. And, they just go into your fascial tissue, into your posture, into everything, your dural membrane, your brain, your bones, your ligaments, your muscles. And we have to cope with them because we have to kind of carry on. We haven't got the full story. We haven't got a full understanding. And these coping mechanisms get stronger and stronger and stronger until something comes along that triggers and catalyzes your trauma and wants to bring it to the surface. So an overreaction is that moment where you have an opportunity to heal a trauma that's been buried for so long. So in a Breakthrough 1 class, we have an experiential journey. It really is a visceral journey that you go on in exploring what an overreaction is, how these things came about in us, what is really happening with us when we're in an overreaction. And then you get this experience of being introduced to the 7 steps process of breakthrough, which is a very practical, very loving and gentle way of looking at your deeply held traumas and seeing what's really going on. So if this is interesting to you, please join us on next Thursday. I'm doing an introductory talk. Those are free. Please register on the IBA website. Come and join us and experience for yourself a little bit of breakthrough. And the class is at the end of June 24th to the 27th. The early bird option is available until the 11th of June, so you can still get it for the early bird price. And come and see this, get this experience of this gentle, powerful work in really setting yourself free in your own personal responsibility. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for listening. Bye.